Hello and welcome to another video from the Marketing Study Guide. In this video I'm going to have a look at the for and against of using psychographic segments to construct your target markets. My name's Jeff and I'm a long-term marketing lecturer and practitioner. Okay, so as you probably know, the main bases are listed there. I have videos on each of these. This video covers psychographic segments, but if you need other information, please have a look at the other videos. Now, very quickly, what are we trying to do when we construct market segments? There's a number of goals, but basically we start with we've got to put our overall market into common and distinct groups that are based upon some marketing basis. So product needs, lifestyles, demographics, purchasing behavior, attitudes, etc. What we're trying to do is look for people who have things in common. So this group here, for example, those consumers we put in the one segment should have some of these things in common. Okay, so that they are similar in their actions. They're never going to be identical. They're going to be quite similar in terms of something marketing related, and they're going to be quite distinct as opposed to the other segments. So each segment needs to be almost a little bit unique. So segment 1, they've got this in common, which is different from segment 2 and different from segment 3. Our goal is not just a segment market, although that can provide us with very helpful information. Our goal is also to come up with which of these segments makes sense for us as a target market. And I've got a video on how you would do that. And also, at the end of the day, we want to construct a marketing strategy and a marketing mix that really works well with that target market, so we make a better business. And unless we're able to do it in terms of identifying the best target market and coming up with an improved marketing solution, it's a pointless exercise. So the end result is to make a stronger and more profitable business. Okay, let's have a quick look at what psychographics are. So I've got a picture of a person there with lots of things in their head, and that's sort of a clue. So typically psychographics are lifestyle measures. We're having a look at how they live their life. We're having a look at what attitudes they have. Potentially we're looking at different personality types and values, things that they hold important or are fundamental to how they operate in life. To keep it very, very simple, it's how people live, feel, think. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do with. Like with demographics, there's a whole bunch of things we can look at. Same with psychographics. So we're just going to pick one or two of those and say, hey, this is a common segment, and they're quite different to this segment. The advantage is psychographics helps us really dig down in understanding a person. So it's a sort of a deep dive. Sometimes in textbooks you'll see the word lifestyle analysis, which is psychographic research, and you'll often see AIO, which stands for what are the person's activities, what are they interested in, and what opinions do they have on key social events. So that's often a way you can look at segmenting. Okay, let's have a look at the fors and against of using psychographics. The big advantage is obviously the depth and the insight we have into people and how they live their lives. And if we can convert that into a marketing capital somehow, that gives us the ability to have more success. We will have a much better understanding of consumers and as people in particular, including their base motivations. What is driving them to buy certain products or attract them to certain brands, etc. So it has a lot more power in that regard. Because we have more information and a deeper understanding, hopefully against our competitors, we know more about the market and we know more about our target markets. So that should give us an advantage longer term. And we should be able to create very rich and detailed segment profiles and brand personas that we keep using long term. So yeah, it takes a lot of work, but the investment in this hopefully will pay back over time. Okay, let's have a look at now the reasons not to use psychographics or the disadvantages of using them. At the top there it says, we understand the person as a person, their lifestyle, but we still don't know necessarily how that impacts their purchasing behavior. So the second point is we need to connect the dots. You go, okay, person lives like that. This is important to them. This is their activities and interests. How does that impact their purchasing behavior? So there's still a little bit more work to do. We just can't rely on psychographics only. And because of that, the third point is it takes a lot of time and money and resources to make this happen. So firstly, we've got to understand them as a person in their lifestyle, and then we're going to go, okay, how does that connect from a customer viewpoint? And that takes a lot of information, and it takes a lot of time to get. And that sort of makes this more of a appropriate approach for larger companies or companies who can buy in this information. The second last point there is not as clear to work with in a company. So if you turn up and said, hey, our segment is people in their 20s or people who live in this city, it's clear cut. Everybody knows what we're talking about. If we come up with it's people who enjoy this sort of thing and holds these values, is not as easy to get your head around. So that's why we use a brand persona, somebody who represents the target market. And the very last point is they might be harder to reach and to action. So that means, how do we get media out to these people? How do we communicate to them? How do we physically set up stores to access these people? This is a cross section potentially of the consumer base, so they might not live in the same area, they might not necessarily do the same things, so it's a little bit more challenging. Okay, so that's it. Remember, there's videos on all the segmentation bases, so please check them out.